last necessity will be my car. Uh, I miss a lot my car. For me, having a car means freedom, and
This was
I just
me,
enjoy.
just 1 month after I started learning English. 5 months later, I was fluent and ready for university in the USA. I even scored higher than 96% of native speakers on the SAT English section. And keep in mind, I am not a native speaker, I'm just like you, and I made it happen. But the truth is, I didn't take the normal path. I didn't just study grammar or play Duolingo. What I discovered was the exact opposite of what most people are told. And that's why I went from zero to fluent in 6 months. So I will take you through my story, and as you hear it, you will learn the lessons that can change the way you approach learning English and reach real fluency faster than you thought possible. Now, let me take you back to where everything started. My name is Raouf Mheni and I'm from Tunisia. In my country, people speak Arabic and French. A few speak English, but I wasn't one of them. Since I was a kid, I dreamed of living in the United States. Coming from a poor country with limited chances, I imagined the American dream. Education, business, opportunity. But that dream was behind a locked door. And the only key was English, a key I didn't have. In school, they tried to teach us, but the environment was very bad. The teachers almost never spoke English, and it was easier for them to explain everything in French. So we never practiced. But that wasn't even the biggest problem. The real pain was my fear of speaking. Every time I tried to improve, it felt like being punished for trying. So I gave up. I told myself I was lazy. But the truth is, I was scared. By the time I finished high school, my dream of America was still behind a locked door. I still remember working on my applications for universities. I typed one sentence, then nothing. Speaking was worse. I thought in French, mixed up words, and my accent was very strong. Even my family told me to give up. Except for one person, my father, who never gave up on the dream and kept looking for a way. He found an English program at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. and told me to apply. The program looked perfect because it focused on academic English and accepted students of all levels. So, on August 10, 2021, I sent in my application. And since it was in the US, I thought, what better way to learn English than to be in a place where you have to speak it to survive. A couple of days later, I received an email. Congratulations, you're in! The program would start on March 14, 2022, giving me 6 months to prepare, practice English and apply for universities. So, I tried YouTube, but I spent most of my time just searching for the right lesson. I tried Duolingo and I hated it. It felt like a waste of time. Worst of all, I had no one to practice with. So I started strong for 3 days and then quit. You see, without the right environment, I had no chance. That's why March 11, 2022, the day I left Tunisia, became my new beginning. That first week was crazy. Imagine being surrounded by thousands of people, but not able to say a word to them. Actually, the only 3 words I could say were, "It's okay." So if someone said good morning, I'd say, "It's okay." Fortunately, my father was with me, so I wasn't completely alone. But that safety quickly disappeared. 2 weeks later, at 5 a.m. on April 1st, my dad's phone rang and it was my grandfather calling to tell us that my grandmother had passed away. My father booked a flight that very same day and left. And just like that, I was alone, 2 weeks in, with no family, no apartment and no language. My father was gone and the biggest challenge of my life had started. Learn English or go back to Tunisia. I still wasn't good and I was so afraid. But survival changed something in my mind and fear became energy. It could hurt me or help me and I chose to let it help me. One day after class, I went to McDonald's for the first time, and for some reason I was so nervous to order that I would have preferred to cook the Big Mac myself than talk to the cashier. But when I finally spoke, the guy didn't even speak English, he only spoke Spanish. That shocked me. Because back in Tunisia, everyone believed that if you lived in an English-speaking country, you would automatically speak English. But that's not true. I met people who had lived there for 20 years and still couldn't speak. That was the moment my relationship with English changed. It started to feel like a video game. Each day I tried to level up, and slowly I was winning. Inside the classroom, I paid attention like my life depended on it. Georgetown had one rule: only English, no other language allowed. I practiced with my classmates and we became friends. I also made American friends, and at first I thought they would laugh at my accent, but they didn't. They liked it, they helped me, and they supported me. I still remember I used to say the word laugh as laugh, and one American friend corrected me. From that day on, I never made that mistake again. Do you see the difference? In Tunisia, people who weren't better than me made fun of me, but here I was pushed to improve. Of course, my first conversations were very hard. I froze, forgot words, and felt stupid. But I started seeing freezing as part of growth and an opportunity to improve. Every time you freeze, your brain is lifting a new weight, and like the gym, the more you lift, the stronger you get. Still, I couldn't do it alone. Luckily, I had one professor who was more like a guide than a teacher. She didn't just teach me English, she taught me to love the journey and become obsessed. She gave me so much homework, and I turned every exercise into a way to grow. Writing better sentences, explaining ideas more clearly, and using new words. The harder she pushed me, the higher I climbed. Even so, the program at Georgetown wasn't perfect because it focused on writing, not speaking, so I had to build my own way to learn. At first, it was lonely. Every night I sat in my room speaking out loud to myself, recording my voice and making my brain think in English. During the day, I used every conversation to practice, and when I was alone, I spoke out loud to get more. I even created a little program for my accent. I studied how to move my tongue, how to shape each sound, and repeated it again and again until I heard the difference. To train my thoughts, I started describing my life in English, what I was cooking, what I was wearing, where I was going. It wasn't easy, but then one night, in the 5th month, something happened. I dreamed in English for the first time, and when I woke up, I knew I was fluent. Looking back now, I understood the best way to learn. What you do matters less than where and how you do it. First, you need to be in the right environment that supports you. It doesn't have to be an English-speaking country, but it must help you grow. Then, you build the right mindset. Only after that do you study and practice. That's why most people, like you, completely misunderstand what it takes to learn English. They avoid speaking because they're afraid of mistakes. They study alone with no practice and no feedback. So they may understand some English, but they still can't speak. And in the meantime, their lack of English skills makes them miss job offers, business opportunities, and education, losing the chance to earn much more money than they ever imagined. And since you stayed this far, you are smart enough to know that fluency in English will get you more money, stronger relationships, and the freedom you need, the same way it did for me. So the only question left unanswered is, are you done wasting your potential? Or will you take action and change your life? If you are serious, you will find a link in the description that will take you exactly where you need to be. I hope to see you there.